The Royal Desserts Hour, directed by Rudy Vallee.
Hi-ho, everybody. This is Rudy Vallee and Company. The people of the hour tonight include 5 of the principal members of the cast of Broadway's newest operetta hit, The Two Bouquets. They will be introduced by the celebrated playwright, Mark Connolly. And as a special patriotic holiday feature, the Army's most famous bugler, Staff Sergeant Frank Witchey, 3rd United States Cavalry, retired. Graham, do you mind repeating the above for the benefit of a lady in Fort Wayne who came in late?
Our cast includes Sergeant Frank Witchey, Army bugler, Tommy Riggs and Betty Lou, Eddie Green as Robin Hood, and the principal players in The Two Bouquets, introduced by Mark Connolly.
A news item from the New York Herald Tribune of June 2nd last, filed for future reference, brings us now an opportunity to observe, a bit in advance, the glorious 4th. The headline reads, Unknown Soldier's Bugler Ends 30-year Career. Sergeant Witchey retired from Army. Blue taps at graves of Wilson, Taft, and scores of other notables. Sergeant Witchey is with us this evening, arrayed in the historic dress uniform of the 3rd Cavalry, old and honored regiment. Since his retirement, he has been named National Trumpeter of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Staff Sergeant Frank Witchey, 3rd U.S. Cavalry, retired. 10 paces forward, please.
Sergeant Witchey, sir, reporting for microphone detail.
At ease, Sergeant. My compliments on your handsome appearance. You must have been very young when you enlisted. You hardly look old enough to be retired.
I was 16 when I enlisted, Mr. Vallee.
I thought that 18 was the minimum enlistment age.
It was, but the recruiting officer didn't ask for my birth certificate.
I see. Your Army career must have included service in France,
yes,
Sergeant.
Sir. It did. The 3rd Cavalry spent 23 months overseas. Some of us were at Chateau Ferry and a number of other uncomfortable spots.
Were you wounded?
Slightly, yes.
Who won the war, Sergeant?
The Marines, of course. Everybody knows that.
Do I detect a note of sarcasm in the sergeant's voice?
Yes, sir, you do. Not that anybody wants to take away from what the Marines did. They deserve all the glory they get. But there were a few dismounted horse soldiers around there, too.
You ought to know, Sergeant. I understand that modern warfare finds little use for mounted troops.
That's right. Machine gun fires, turtle things, 2 horses.
Yes, it's hardly civilized to treat horses that way. Is the 3rd Cavalry mechanized nowadays?
Partly, yes.
I imagine you old-time cavalrymen don't particularly care for mechanization.
That's right. And you can hardly blame us for preferring a fine horse to a stinking gasoline engine.
Do you think that cavalry will be entirely supplanted by mechanized troops?
No. Horses will always be useful. They don't run out of gas.
Sergeant, our purpose in bringing you up from Fort Myer was largely musical. I think a lot of former soldiers would like to hear a few bugle calls without the necessity of doing anything about the implied command. Let's run through part of a day in the life of a bugler. Might we have the first call, please? That's the one that wakes you up. And as a one-time, somewhat less than able seaman, I know you never want to get up. But then you hear this. And out we roll, cursing feebly. By the way, Sergeant, who does wake up the bugler?
The corporal of the guard on the night's last guard relief.
May all his children suffer from insomnia. Well, the next call is much more welcome. Soupy, 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 without a single bean. Coffee, 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 the worst you've ever seen. And next we hear... The orders for the day, we'll suppose, include one of those movie-tone news cavalry drills we see so often, usually in the snow at Fort Ethan Allen. The bugler blows. Boots and saddles. And then, with the cameraman carefully placed in a pit so that he can catch the horses thundering overhead, we hear attack. But sometimes it isn't for the news cameras. Sometimes it's real, desperately real. And later the bugler plays another call for men who cannot hear the notes. Let us hope it never need be real again. But let us remember, too, why so many men have died. I recall a line from a play once performed in this program, Maxwell Anderson's Valley Forge. In the play, the author has George Washington say, "This liberty will look easy by and by, when men no longer die to get it." In these days, when the idea and value of human liberty is denied with a sneer in so many lands, it is well to remember that liberty is not an easy thing to have and hold. For the men who died to get it, in the quiet belief that they did not die in vain. Thank you, Sergeant Witchey.